everyone. Welcome to Thursday evening Insightful Conversations. My name is Sister Michelle, and I know some of you. We've been together before, and if you're new to Thursday evening Insightful Conversations, double welcome, and hopefully you'll be back. It is December. Happy December, everyone. I love December. It's a very special time. It seems like it's always dark, but with that darkness, I find it's very clear and crisp, and I can see light even better, and the stars are out at night, and it's a wonderful time. And it's also, we're getting ready for the new year. So we are preparing ourselves both mentally and spiritually, intellectually and spiritually, for that new year, the whole month, at least I do. So this is a very special time of the year, and I'm so glad you're joining with us. So the month of December starts a whole new series of conversations, and we're going to be celebrating letting go. And hopefully by letting go, as that expression goes, we're going to let God in too. So it's going to be letting go, but bringing God and spirit into our lives. So tonight, our subject is being light. And I was thinking about that title, being light, that it really can be two meanings in English. Being light is without having any burdens that we carry. Often in my thoughts during the day, I'm ruminating about my past actions, or I'm anticipating something upcoming in the future. And by being light, I'm in the moment and I'm not worried about the past or the future. And as a result, I am lighter, and as a result, happier. And also being light, on the flip side of that, is bringing brightness and sensitivity to our actions and helping others. So both of those meanings, I was thinking about, how can I be light? And tonight, we are going to be delving into this with none other than Sister Tina, who you have met before if you've been with us. Sister Tina has a Ph.D. in plant science. So she has dealt with matter and with spirit, and she's worked for many years as a research scientist in academia. She's been practicing Raja Yoga meditation for 24 years, which I find hard to believe because she looks so young, but she has been practicing maybe since birth, for that matter, and is currently living at the Brahma Kumaris Center in Great Neck. And we're going to talk about that because we're going to start coming back to Global Harmony House, and I'll talk about that when we're done. Tina loves to discover her inner strengths and apply spiritual concepts to this practical life and stay in dignity and peace with all she does. And that is true. She has a very sharp intellect, and she brings deep insights into moments for me that seem very blurry. It's kind of like, sometimes I feel like I'm driving a car with a very dirty windshield. And sometimes I find Tina kind of cleans the windshield a little bit for me. And as a result, the glass being cleaner, I can see clearly. And especially on my road, my spiritual road, that's helpful. So I kind of think of her as this really good windshield wiper that can keep my glass clean. And we're going to get to see that tonight. So welcome, Sister Tina, to us tonight, and help us be light and help us be light.
Hello, greetings of peace, everyone. Thank you so much, Michelle. That was such a beautiful intro. I think you just set the context in such a right mode. I was thinking when you said about glowing and, being the light, and I was just thinking that when we are saying that we are celebrating letting go, I was so happy. One, because this is 1st of December, but also it is last month of the year. And in a way, we all, this month is so special because we are also preparing ahead, planning a little bit for the upcoming year, and, if you will, decluttering a little bit, letting go of some things, especially for myself. I feel I do want to let go of those dull moments or not so good moments, and see how I want to bring brightness or light into my life. But when I was thinking about this topic, I remembered a time in my life, which is not very long ago, just a few years back, When I moved from Chicago City to a university town in Indiana, because that's where I was doing my science, once I was sitting, early fall time or maybe late summertime, I don't remember exactly, but I was sitting near the window, just having my evening tea. And this window opens to a vast grassland, like a big ground, which is covered by grass, carpeted kind of thing. And first time in my life, I witnessed this breathtaking scene, which was so beautiful, of these glowworms. Mhm. These little worms that light up, right? You must have heard about them. They light up after dusk usually. And it was so many of them, one or two here and there we usually see. But these were like, because this was whole big grassland kind of, there were so many of them. And of course, because of science, we know that there is a reason why they light up. Especially the insect lights up, one, to attract other insect towards itself, but also sometimes to warn off the predator that could come close to it. And so just watching this dazzling scene during that nighttime or evening time, it made me so happy. It gave me so much joy, but also it left me pondering for a little bit of a moment that, it made me think that for us as human beings, how at times many of us are sometimes lost in the darkness of the night. Now, the darkness of night can come in different ways, right? It could come in some challenging situations that life brings in front of us, or some experiences of suffering in forms of misery, of sickness, or due to poverty, or due to some kind of failure, or it could be due to the experience of death of a dear one. There are so many different things and different reasons in this world why these dark moments or these dark nights can kind of sometimes give us the experience that we are kind of engulfed in darkness. And so the question I was thinking for all of us, including myself, is that to what extent am I able to overcome and emerge as a glowing worm, if you will, as a glowing light for myself? Because these worms, there is, of course, they're bioluminescent creatures, and they have this chemical reaction going within their bodies that generates light. They auto-generate it. They don't need somebody else for them to generate it. And on their own, they're able to do it, right? Which not only adds to their survival, gives them one of the reasons to survive in a better way, but also they become a thing of great joy and great beauty. And so I was thinking that if a worm can do that, we can also light up in our own ways, right? And so to what extent can I emerge from this darkness and become that light? How can I emerge that light within myself? But also, how can I bring that light to others? Because just like the worm, it is lighting itself up, glowing, but also it is bringing joy to others. So am I able to ignite the light within me, is the question I want to ask myself. And then am I able to pass it to others as well, right? Like you were saying, giving the example of windshield, as soon as you put the water on the windshield, and everything becomes so clear. But imagine one day you don't use your wipers and you don't put the water on the windshield, you don't clean it, and you're on the road, you can't see anything clearly. You have to clean your windows, right? It's like that. So that when we are on this journey and through time, through space, as we move forward, we can remain free from all the distractions and influences that these situations in life, these circumstances in life can bring, right? Because when it influences me, then I can go astray from the path that I have chosen. But I want to get those glimpses of light, of this constantly, if you will, self-improving that is going on within us. Constantly we are ever unfolding. We don't know, every day we are different, right? And in this process, Every day I get to know a little bit more about myself. Maybe I little bit unlearn some things about myself. And this is true, especially for those of us who are on the spiritual journey, right? And so if I am on this spiritual journey, if I have chosen this path, then I do want to stay beyond all these influences or these circumstances, all these darknesses, these negativities that are surrounding me, because that's not going to go. However, sometimes I feel why I am not able to light up, or why I'm not able to be that light. One of the reasons, like in the song also, it was saying that the memories, the baggage, the souvenirs, the stories, all of that that we carry, of course, it can be colorful story, but also it can be a tragic story, right? That can increase our burden, that can be the cause of our suffering. And yet we find it difficult to let it go when the time comes, when we tell ourselves, I want to release it, but we're not able to release it, right? And so the question I was thinking was, is it hard to let go, or is it hard to hold on to something? And many times people say, oh, it's very easy to hold on to some things because you just have to remember, it's very simple. But then sometimes I feel it is much easier to let go, maybe. But why we feel it's difficult? Have you ever thought like why we feel it's difficult to let go? And one reason that I find for myself is I feel that's what who I am. I feel I identify myself with it. I feel it's my story, and without this story, I am nothing. What am I going to share if I don't share this story, right? If I don't share this thing that happened to me 20 years back, what am I? Like I identify with it so much. But also sometimes holding on to is gives us the feeling of easiness, is because we feel that I am not the one who's holding on to it. Somebody else has become a reason and has given it to me to hold it. And so unless they come and apologize to me, or unless they come and tell something to me, I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to hold on to it, right? And so that's why it kind of gives us feeling that letting go is difficult. But let's say if we believe that letting go is difficult, then how do we plan to generate this auto ignition process that the worms are kind of auto igniting? How do I plan to do this? There has to be some way for me to kind of auto generate this light within myself. But the truth is, and from the spiritual standpoint, that one of the ways you can glow up, one of the ways you can know or light up, is just to know that this is who I am. The eternal self, or the true identity of I, the being, is light. Consciousness is nothing but energy, the light. But the problem here is we don't feel that way, or we don't believe, or we don't have that faith that I am light energy, right? Winston Churchill, you might remember from our history lessons back in the old days, when, at least in India, because we had British Raj, so Winston Churchill was one of the viceroys, as far as I remember. I might be wrong on that, but he was one of the persons who was very well known for his being a source of encouragement, and he motivated the youths during the times of war to fight, and he told them that we are all worms. But then do you believe I am this glowworm? You will, I am the light, like that. So if I believe I am the light, if I have that faith, I am the light, then things can start to shift a little bit. But there has to be this first belief, or first faith, if you will, that I am light, I am, beautiful being of energy. And that can bring in more awareness or awakeness, if you will, can happen. And one of the ways to know that I am light is, what do I want? If I ask myself, what do I want? Like, for example, for the body, because the body is made out of 5 elements, the body wants 5 elements, right? The body wants water, the body wants air, the body wants heat, the body wants all of this because that's what it's made up of. Now, if I ask myself, what do I want? What do you want? If I ask you, Michelle, what would you say? Right? Very commonly we say,
I want, well, I would say, everyone says, I want peace.
you want peace.
I want comfort. I want happiness. I want joy.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want all of this, right? You want peace,
That's
you
not
want
matter.
happiness.
That's not what you're talking about. But
Exactly. It's not matter
right.
because I am not this body. I am not just what appears to these physical eyes, but I am more than that, what meets the physical eyes. I am this being of peace. I am being of love. I am being of truth. I am being of knowledge. And so that is what I want. I want happiness. I want love. I want respect. I want, joy. And all of that is what I want, right? But then if I continue to think that on the physical level, this is what I want, then that is what creates the separation and little bit of conflict, if you will, because we are so attached to our own burdens. We are so attached to our own false identities that we kind of misidentify ourselves, and then glowing of the light can never happen because I'm so caught up with this. There was this village one time I visited, and there was this well, well of water, water body, which is like a well. And on top of it, there was a big layer of green moss, the algae. But the lady there, as soon as she put the bucket in, the bucket could penetrate the algae, and then there was a lot of water underneath, which you cannot see. The water cannot be seen just if you look over the well, because the well is fully covered by the algae. So it's something like that. Why, if I am peace, if I am light, then why don't I feel light? Why don't I feel peace? Why don't I? Because of the algae that is covering, right? And this algae is nothing but these vices of anger and lust and greed and ego and attachment. And because of the thick layer around me, my light is not able to shine out. There is water inside the well, but it cannot be seen. So there is light, but it cannot be seen. It cannot flow out. And so it is sometimes necessary to kind of realize that I have to let go of these layers that I am holding on to, or these superficial identities that I have created all around myself, right? And there was this another thing that we talk about, that light is one, of course, like you said, that can dispel the darkness of negativity, darkness of ignorance, darkness of suffering, darkness of misery, whatever you want to call it. But that's one aspect of it. And the other aspect of it is, like you were saying, that light means lightness, where there is no weight or less weightage, right? Then it becomes light, and something that is light can easily fly, right? Can easily be free and experience that state of freedom. So the question I need to ask myself is that what is it that is creating burden within me? Things that I'm holding, yes, but also things that create a lot of waste, right? Wastage increases a lot of weight on the soul, on the being of or the self, if you will. So if I can take care of this wastage that is happening, right, then I can lower the weight, and I can experience inner lightness, and I can experience flying like those glowworms, if you will, So what is the waste coming from? And can I recognize that the burden is not going to allow me to move forward at a fast speed? It's like there was this old man carrying, they say, 10 or 15 pounds of weight, and he was in the bus traveling from destination A to B. And he was standing at the door, and the bus conductor said, "Please sit down. So when your turn comes, you can get up and go. You have a lot of, weight." He says, "No, no, 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 I have to reach there fast. And so I have to stand at the door. So I have to get down." But if you think about it, carrying that weight is only going to make me tired, right? Carrying that weight is not going to make me reach at my destination any faster than I would otherwise, right? But there is this belief that I will reach fast if I carry this burden. But if I leave the body, am I really going to go faster with all that burden that I'm carrying in my soul? No. And so if I understand where this weight is coming from, where this burden is coming from, then I can help myself to release it, to let it go, and to help myself to be that light energy that I am. So we do talk about different thoughts, and many of you are with us from long time. If some of you are new, then you are more than welcome to stop by at our center in Global Harmony House and learn a little bit more about Raj Yoga meditation. But it is in this practice of meditation that we talk about how we have different kinds of thoughts. And whenever I am thinking of waste thoughts or repetitive thoughts or thoughts about situations that are not in my control, then that is what increases the waste within me. And that waste increases the burden, increases the weight, doesn't allow me to feel light. So past thoughts, if you will, thoughts connected with your past or thoughts connected with your future are the two categories of thoughts mainly that create waste within us. There can be other reasons as well, but majority of the times when we think about past, we are basically replaying the same story again and again and again and again and trying to give all good reasons why I should hold on to this story, and why I should not let it go. And so these kinds of repetitive thoughts, these kinds of thoughts connected with your past story is really not going to serve me. I have to realize this. But a lot of it comes from there. And then future is more about unnecessary concern of what will happen tomorrow, right? Not trusting my destiny, not trusting my fortune, not trusting my good actions. But there is this lot of pressure and deadlines and sometimes, bondages around that can make me feel that I have to do. If I don't do, what will happen? And all of that future related thoughts is also something that creates burden. If we look at time itself, out of the three aspects of time, past, present, and future, really past and future are not in my control, right? I cannot jump back into my past and say, oh, I want to fix this, I want to change this, let me change it. I cannot do that. Nor can I jump forward into my future and pre-fixate an outcome of what I'm going to do action today, right? I can't do that also. So what is really in my hand is this present moment. And that's why present is called the most precious moment, because it is in this moment that I can bring about transformation. I can bring about some change. I can do something about it, right? And so if I can focus on the present and not allow my thoughts to be generated from past or from future, from fear or from consciousness of the physical world, then that will help me to be in the present. That will help me to be light, to have thoughts which are more positive, which are more light in nature, but also very powerful, right? A good question to ask myself is, how can I make a positive contribution in this moment? How I can make a positive contribution in this moment. And every moment can become a beautiful moment. Every moment can be a moment of giving, this attitude of giving, because how am I contributing? Even just creating a one simple thought that I am a peaceful being, you are contributing towards peace in the world, because every thought has a vibration, every thought has an energy which transmits through these elements, right? Goes into the environment, affects the atmosphere, uplifts the vibration of the whole world. And so every moment can be a moment of giving. And this attitude of giving really brings about inner contentment, which helps me to stay very light, very happy, full of joy, And so it's important to know that I can be this, I can do this. However, the only thing is science cannot prove the existence of light, right? Because just like science tells us that the glowworms glow because of the chemical reaction that happens in their body. So science cannot prove that we are light, but we can feel and we can, understand from the vibration that I am light, I am energy, I am peace, I am love. And this light that I bring in my own life, you can call it light of knowledge, you can call it light of truth, this is what will actually make me shift into the stage where I am constantly being light. When I was sharing this story with one of my friends, she said, "Oh, that's nice. Let it go and let it glow." So you let things go on one side, whatever is creating heaviness, and then you just glow inside and you feel light and you be light and you spread happiness everywhere, right? So I have to constantly ask myself, why am I spoiling my present by holding on to things of past? Why am I spoiling my future by not doing something that I should be doing in the present? If I'm doing things or I'm thinking or I am pondering or reflecting on things of the past, basically I'm not doing anything elevated in the present. And so how can I expect a different outcome for my future, right? So it's necessary for me to understand and to realize that I am a being of light, and I can bring this light through this awareness, or at least knowledge, even if you don't feel in the beginning, which I believe is hard. But let's say you don't feel, but you have this knowledge, you have this understanding, or we are saying, spiritually minded people are saying that I am light, I am consciousness, I am energy. We can at least experiment with that thought. We can visualize and see if that is helping me. And if it is helping me, then I can take the steps forward, right? That's what I feel is letting go is not that difficult if I really understand that it's not serving the purpose. My purpose, my aim is to be light, to express peace, to express love. But if I am holding on to things that is creating suffering for me or burden for me, then it's not serving the purpose. It's not helping me to fulfill my aim, right? So just this understanding that freedom I can give to myself is by letting go of the things that I'm holding on to, right? So forgiveness can become easy, actually. Forgiveness has a big role to play when you have to let go of things, right? Because letting go is not only letting go of my negative traits or my weaknesses or my shortcomings or my shadow side, if you will, but also letting go of what others have done, what others have said, what life has done to you. All of that is included in it, right? But the more I come from the space of knowing that this is going to help me, so I will be able to forgive, I will be able to release, I will be able to let go. Those are just few thoughts I had when I was thinking about this topic. I want to open for questions if there are any, and then want to take you into a nice meditation.
So, Sister Tina, should they put it in the chat? Can they put it in the chat?
They can put it in the chat, or they can unmute, I guess.
Okay.
Can they unmute themselves or no?
I don't know. I know I can. I don't know if they can unmute.
Yeah, they can unmute themselves.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay, they can unmute. Okay. I like the concept of being a glowworm. There are times when I like that metaphor, because there are times that I can feel like I have this energy, I'm in a good place, and I'm in the moment. And it's true when you are a so-called, and I'm going to use that perhaps going forward. I like that. When I feel like I am a so-called glowworm, you do attract people. It is true that when you are in that space, people somehow find their way to you, as opposed to, it makes a lot of sense, because if you are you'll forgive me for using another metaphor, a stink bug, people don't want to be near stink bugs, but they do want to be, I've never heard anyone, sad to say, because all God's creatures, but stink bugs are not thought very well. But if you act like a stink bug, and I have met people that sometimes try to mimic a stink bug, you don't want to be near that stink bug. But glowworm, on the other hand, I remember as a child, you wanted to catch those glowworms, so that was a big thing. They obviously are very attractive. But by acting like one, your point is well taken. You do find that people will migrate to you. So with that energy, and I love the fact that if you're at that high energy, because it is a higher energy, people at that same energy, in order to be with you, will have to go to that level. They'll want to be. And we've talked about that on Thursday nights. So if anyone wants to comment about that, the energy it takes, the good energy it takes to be at that level, to be that glowworm and attract others. And what do you do when someone is at that low energy? Somehow they're not interested. I've seen it too. When I'm in a good space, people that are stink bugs don't want to be near me. They kind of naturally move away because they see that I'm not, it's too much work for them to come to my level, sad to say. So if anyone has any comments, any glowworms out there, there's even songs about glowworms. I was going to sing one. Maybe I'll do it. We'll talk about December 15th, Songs of Joy. We'll sing.
Because one of the things we said, glow, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would like you to more or less break down the program or situation that you could establish in yourself in the letting go process of past bad experiences. Like constantly in your mind, they come back, and then you continuously talk and express and tell others of things that have happened 5 years, 10 years, 40 years past, and it just keep recurring. Now, what would be the strategy other than, well, most likely meditation, but I would like you to explain, how do we clear our mind of coming back to past bad experiences?
I don't have too many bad experiences, but I do have one, I think, that I can share. And this was when I was in my graduation. I had a very close friend, and towards the end of graduation, we just were almost about to graduate, and something happened, and I got to learn that he did something very bad to me, and it kind of broke my trust. It broke my relationship. It broke everything for me, and so I felt that was a betrayal from a friend of mine who was considered as, it was a group of us, and he kind of not only betrayed me, but he betrayed all of us in that sense. And so, of course, after graduation, he went on his path, and I was by my path was different. And I was practicing meditation during that time. And so I used my practice of meditation to forgive and to forget and to let go and to just completely be free from that experience. Now, fast forward 5 years down the lane, I happened to come to USA for my higher studies, for my Ph.D. And I was in Ohio, and from nowhere, I don't know how he found what he did. From nowhere, he just came in front of me one day, suddenly, from nowhere. And he was trying to be friends with me and very happy. Of course, I was happy to see him, but all of the memories just came back up. And instantly, I caught myself. I haven't forgiven. I haven't forgotten. I could remember everything. And so then I had to redo the work on myself. I went back to my meditation room, and I again sat and I cleaned the feelings. I cleaned the heart space. I kind of re-surrendered everything that was in my heart. And then, it took me time. I did it for like 2-3 days. And then I came to a space where whenever I saw him, because now he's in the same country, same town, same city. So I'm going to meet him more often. So I decided that whenever I meet, I will be in this space of dignity, where I'm stable. I'm not going to be influenced by those past memories. And so I was able to see him also as God's child. I was able to, see him as this pure soul. That was just one of the karmic, account that I had to settle, and it's done. Because one of the things that I learned after doing Raj Yoga meditation was the deep, deep philosophy of karma. I don't know how much you believe in karma, but that really helps us to let go. But okay, that happened, 10 years back or 5 years back, and it's done. Why am I holding on to it? You have to be a little bit sensible and intellectual. But that also, one thing that helped me was writing letter to God. I wrote letters to God. I wrote everything because I had to share with someone. So I could only trust God, and I wrote everything. So writing letter kind of opened up and helped me to, analyze and see what was going on, and then clear everything out and bring in that light of knowledge, bring in God's love, and help me to become light. But also I was able to make him feel light in my company, so I think
And
that's what I
that's
was.
that's a specific situation of an individual. I was thinking more on the basis of, like, for example, difficulties that you had in life generally. In other words, at a certain stage of your earlier life, and as you got older, they can, the situations themselves keep recurring back to you, and you keep talking about them, and not just like an individual situation like of yours, but one of your origin itself.
Maybe one of the things to ask yourself is to see what is the lesson that this scene in my life is trying to teach me. Only because I have not learned that lesson, and sorry because I'm saying this, but I hope you don't mind. Only because when we don't learn the lesson that life is trying to bring to us, it keeps on repeating the same kind of situation.
Exactly.
So I have to be careful and attentive. What is it trying to teach me? Can I understand? Can I check that? And can I bring that quality?
Correct.
So that will help, because once you've learned the lesson, you will move on to next phase in your
No,
life.
because sometimes I hear, like maybe in conversations, I hear someone just, repeating, a situation. And I said, well, there's got to be a way that you could really sort of clear that out of yourself. So one would be go into meditation and go above and try to quiet yourself and try to not think about this in future. But thoughts come to you, and or conversations bring back situations that are similar. And then so there's a way of putting a stop and moving on.
Yeah, the more you have to bring that light also, no? Like, of course, I have my own light, but then I also sometimes need help from the other beings around me who are ignited, who can encourage you, who can help you to move on this path. And so to be in the company of those who are beings of light, if you will, awakened, if you will. So that will also help,
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
To that end, it's a good segue, and thank you for your question. Dan writes that and I can relate to this, that sometimes the initial glow is hard to get, but when we share it and work at it, it gets easier because you're glowing with others. And I love that. And others will glow, and the combination, and it speaks to exactly what you were talking about in nature. You can see one glowworm and, you know, two glowworms, but what you talked about is the field. And I've seen it myself. One time in my life, I saw a field of glowworms, and I can still remember it. It was shockingly amazing. It was one of the top experiences. So when you spoke, but what Dan is mentioning is true, that it may be hard to get, but if you glow with others and you share it, it does get easier.
Yeah.
And
And that's why it
beauty
says,
of
no,
it.
the
That's
second
lovely.
question, was, one is that, am I able to ignite my light? But the second question was, am I able to pass it on to others as well? Because if I'm able to pass it on to others, then they can also light up, you know, and then they can also be the lights that can pass it on to others. And that's how we can help each other, you know, to be lights.
It's funny, and we have another comment from Sherry, who talked about, and I don't remember this one because I used to watch Lucille Ball, who's a well-known comedian, but she actually played the saxophone according the Glowworm song, and that's a perfect example of just the scene. I could picture her filled with light and joy and just playing Glowworm and making her laughing at herself and getting others. So it ties into Dan's comment that if you glow and you're enjoying yourself, others will join you.
Cindy is saying that I feel too stuck in the past. How can I try and let go? And so maybe, Cindy, we just discussed, you know, one of the things is to tell yourself what I want my future to be. Do I want my future also to be like this as my present? And if the answer is no, then you would work on your present, because this is also the time which is very, very auspicious, if you will, the time of sowing seeds. Present is the auspicious time. Present is the time to sow the seeds. Present is the time to make best out of it. And only then you can guarantee that the future will also be very beautiful. You can't do anything about the past, but take a lesson from it. Understand that, okay, this has happened. Now what? Now what can I do? You know, what next? Because staying there is not going to help. So you take the help of your intellect, if you will, and make your heart and make your mind understand that it's not going to help me to be there. What is going to help me is to take the next step. And what is going to be my next step? Can I plan that out? Can I draw that out? You know, if you want, you can also write letters to God. I feel that is one of the very beautiful way to release. It really helps to release and to surrender. Sometimes you don't have the answers to all the questions, and you actually don't need, but still, if you feel like I need to just give it to somebody, then you just write and let it go. You know, I don't know if this answers your question, but maybe you can try and see.
I think the key is, and for me, I can only speak from it, is experimenting, to try it. You know, just like you're a scientist, you have a theory, you test it, you test the theory, the hypothesis, if you will, if I remember my science, and see the results. And if it doesn't work, try something else.
And sometimes, Michelle, we have to try the same experiment like 50 times.
Exactly.
And I'm not exaggerating, you know, I'm not exaggerating. Right. Sometimes you have to try, you have to optimize something, you have to change one thing and then do it again, and then change something else and do it again.
Until you get it. This is the same thing. I know for me, I experiment, even the way I treat people. And when you get the results that you want, you repeat it again to get the same result. So you as a scientist may have had a leg up on all of us.
No, we are in the spiritual realm, we are same. Same kinds of test papers we have to give. How to get past the fact that past experiences have actually shaped who we are actually actual genetic changes reshaping who we might have been. How to get past the fact that past experiences have actually shaped who we are, actual genetic changes reshaping who we might have been. I think it is a combination of both. It cannot be only present and it cannot be only past. Your past definitely influences your today because that also creates the personality traits. You carry the personality traits, or we call it sanskars in our spiritual language, but these are nothing but habits or impressions in the soul, and we carry them from our past lives, from our past experiences into our present. But we do have the willpower, we do have the power of the present to perform new actions in the moment and create new sanskars. And so I don't know if I really understand the question one, but also if you're talking about past uh, affecting our present or making it something look different. It wouldn't be just past. It has to be both past and present.
I think people think too often that they're hardwired. I was born this way. And I
Yeah,
used to think I was born a certain way until I started experimenting and I found out it was just a habit that I had,
right,
something I
right.
thought. And and family members have come up to me and said, "What's happened to you?" They
Yeah.
noticed the change.
Mhm.
So aren't necessarily hardwired, that you can change it. Oh, I can't change. Can't teach
Yeah.
an old dog new tricks.
Mhm.
Yes, you can if you want, but it has to have the desire and the intellect to accept that. I think that you can.
They give the example of baby elephant when the a person who catches the baby elephant and ties them, they
Mhm,
tie them with big iron chains and big trees they use to hold them. So the baby elephant will try very hard to liberate itself, free itself, but for whatever reason, because it's still a baby elephant, it's not able to let go of those chains. It's not able to free itself from those chains because those chains are so strong. And then fast forward into the future, when this baby elephant has grown into a big elephant that can actually bring down big trees, now doesn't fight for it, doesn't want to be liberated, stays quietly there because it has been, like you were saying, hardwired into itself that I have tried many times, it didn't work. So now also if I try, it's not going to work. But if it would have tried, it would, it could free itself, right? And so this is what we do to ourselves. We think we have tried enough and it's not going to work and it's not working, so I'm not going to try again. But every time our capacities also change, our abilities also change. And so if I trust that I'm growing and I'm moving forward rather than, just looking at what I was 10 years back, then also it can be easy for me to accept that I can change my habits because I am the one who formed them. So
mhm,
I am the one who can also change them.
mhm. Very nice. That's a very good example of, being that elephant.
Hmm.
That's very true. Very true. Very good. Are there any other comments or questions? Because soon
I
as
have a question, sister. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I just joined in, but after briefly listening to the conversation, I was thinking, even if you change some of your habits and you grow as a person, but what if somebody keeps rubbing it on your face like you did this 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
So I mean, you are talking about what you will say to them or what you will do to them?
Right. I mean, sometimes you grow as a person, but somebody else, they stay at that place and keep reminding you.
But like Michelle was saying in the beginning, right? Some people just enjoy being where they are. they don't want to grow, they don't want to change, and really they're very happy being who they are. One of this lecture I was listening, this was in North Carolina, and this lady, she was not into she was talking to these people in the audience, and she was sharing her story where she said that I was one time sitting with my friends, and now I have become, I'm practicing nonviolence in my life, and I'm sitting with my friends at a dinner table, and they were eating hot dogs. And I told them, do you know what is there in it? And they all said to her, just keep quiet. We don't want to hear. So they're not even willing to learn or to know about it. They're very happy to be where they are. So you cannot change others for sure. Spirituality is the path for those who are courageous enough to transform the self and thereby bring about world transformation. But I cannot transform. I cannot be here because I want to change someone else. They are who they are. If they're rubbing it in your face, you tell them, thank you, you're giving me opportunity to test myself, to check how much patience I have, how much I can tolerate, how much I can, maintain my own dignity. So you have to actually tell them that if you were not there in my life, how would I know that I'm so powerful? How would I know that I have so much strength?
Oh
Right?
my God, sister, that is so important. But
It is not only important, but it really gives you an opportunity to test how much you have imbibed,
Right. I
how
love
much
that.
you have really imbibed. Otherwise, you will be in a cocoon and everything is good around you. How are you going to know what are you made up of? Right?
I love that, Sister Tina.
yeah, it's
Love
such a good
that.
one.
Right?
I used to, when I used to be an elected official, and I had people come into me, and oftentimes they would yell at me. And I would go into a space where I would picture them as sandpaper rubbing against my skin. I would actually visualize, my staff couldn't understand why I was so serene. And I would say, oh, I'm like marble. They're rubbing my skin. And now I am a smooth surface now. There, look how good, look how smooth I am. As they were yelling at me, I would feel them rubbing against my skin going, oh, I'm going to be like a marble egg. And that helped. That's what the space. And my staff would go, how did you do that? And I went, I'm a marble egg and they can't hurt me. And I used to go in that space and it really worked.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And actually, it's not necessary every time you will win, but it's okay. You tell yourself, okay, I know before I used to get 3 times angry, but now at least out of 3, 2 times I was able to be peaceful. Third time I got angry. So you improved, right? So you see, you check your own progress, you check how much you are able to imbibe whatever you are learning, and that is going to be your strength.
So I would love now.
Sometimes we forget to check ourselves.
Sorry?
Sometimes we forget to check ourselves.
Yeah. But that's the constant reminder that we have to give ourselves.
Thank you so much, Sister Tina. This was beautiful and we can apply everything. I'm going to be a glowworm tomorrow. As I wake up, I'm going to see if you notice it next time you see me if I'm glowing. I'd love you to bring us to a place now where we can be together and share in the meditation. And I have some announcements, so please stay.
Yeah, let's do a small meditation just for a few minutes. As I sit quietly, comfortable, yet very alert, maintaining a state of inner calmness. Calmness that protects me from being a slave to my own emotions. I see myself as a master, being of light. My aim is to have a cool head and a happy heart, even if others may be heated or angry. I make a conscious choice that if I want to be a peacemaker, I need to be at peace with myself. In my meditation, I choose to retreat to my inner sanctuary, in a place where there is light, pure consciousness of light. And I can feel the tranquility, the energy of peace flowing in and around me. I can feel the flow of love flowing through me. Very beautiful thoughts emerge. I am in touch with my inner wisdom. I am in touch with my inner light. The more I'm able to express this light, the more I'm able to see and feel this light. I am allowing this light to become more stable. I am allowing this light to shine bright without any fear. And when I'm able to stay stable in this light consciousness, I'm able to let go of the habit of worrying. I'm able to let go of the habit of doubting. I'm able to let go of the habit of holding onto things that are no longer serving my bigger purpose in life. And the more I'm able to make myself free from these low vibrating energies, I'm able to elevate my consciousness. I'm able to elevate my own vibration and energy to higher levels of peace, purity, happiness, joy. And when I become light, a true embodiment of light, my light not only brings benefit to me, but also brings benefit to everyone around me. The vibrations of this light reaches far into the distance, enabling everyone else to be touched by these vibrations and to step up and become light energies. I no longer need to compete with others. I no longer need to compare myself to others. I am who I am, and I accept myself wholly as I am. I will continue to be this light and to bring this light into the world through my every thought, word, and actions. Although I'm not here to change anyone, but I can inspire and encourage everyone around to be source of light by myself being an embodiment of light. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Sister Tina. You truly do have an inner glow, right? Doesn't she? And that glow shed your light on all of us tonight. It was really, really beautiful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
And
you,
thank you,
everyone.
all
And
of
it
you,
was
for
lovely to see you
participating.
all. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes,
lovely.
yes, thank you we got to see you tonight with your cameras. That was
Yeah,
special.
that was very nice.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you. So
everyone.
I just
Take
have a few announcements.
Mhm.
Next week, we will be back continuing on celebrating letting go. Next week, listen to this, we're going to be sensible. That sounds like important. Let's be sensible together. We can send out our vibrations. And that's going to be with Brother Tony Antonio Figueroa, who we all know well, who's been here before and be here next week. And also get your pen ready because December 15th, that's going to be our holiday event. And we're going to do it two ways. We're going to, if you're not comfortable, you can do it on Zoom, but we're going to be opening up the center on Thursday evening, just on December 15th, so we can have a holiday celebration and it's sing songs of joy and celebrate life. And it's an opportunity. We're going to have music, we're going to have meditation, we're going to have a lot of things, and we have a couple of surprises. Even I have a surprise for you. So I hope you'll join us next week and December 15th, hopefully live. If not, you can catch us on Zoom and we continue on. So Om Shanti, and thank you for joining.
And Michelle, if there is anyone new and would like to learn intro to Raj Yoga meditation, then December 5th, 6th, and 7th, we have sessions from 6:30 to 7:30 with Sister Anjani. So you can come in person, you can do it in Zoom. So just contact us. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well,
Okay.
good night, everyone.
Have a
Om
good
Shanti.
night, everyone.
Om
Take
Shanti.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Om Shanti.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.